The sky over Station Coronine was dark and silent. Only the soft hum of radar machines and blinking lights filled the night. Inside the small control room, a young alien girl named Zari sat alone. She was just a trainee, not even allowed to give full reports yet, but tonight, something strange happened. Zari's long fingers tapped the screen. A strange object had appeared on the radar. At first, she thought it was a glitch. The dot moved slowly, too slow for any pirate ship, too quiet for a merchant cruiser. It was cold. Too cold to be one of their own. Her eyes widened. The shape, the heat signature, the movement. It matched something she had only seen in ancient history books. A human ship? She whispered. No one had seen a human in hundreds of years. Some believed they were wiped out in the Great Wars. Others said they never existed. Just a myth, they said. Stories for little kids. Zari zoomed in on the radar screen. The strange ship was heading straight for her planet. This can't be real. She ran to the communicator and called her senior, Officer Track. Sir, I see something strange on the radar. Track's sleepy voice replied, Calm down, Zari. It's probably just a ghost signal. Go get some rest. No, sir, you don't understand, she said quickly. The signal. It's exactly like the old human ships from the archive records. There was silence. Then laughter. You've been reading too many fantasy files. Go back to your station. The call ended. Zari's face turned red with frustration. But she couldn't ignore the feeling in her chest something was coming. Something very real. She checked the scanner logs again. Same signature, same shape, no ID, no message. The ship wasn't trying to contact anyone. It was just ... moving closer. Silently. Her heart pounded. She pulled out her personal datapad and searched the oldest archives, the ones most people ignored. There it was, the shape of the ship, the strange heat pattern, the energy core, it all matched. The last human ship model. Explorer class, same size, same shield frequency. Zari's claws tapped nervously on the console. The ship was now within 10,000 kilometers, still silent. Still heading straight for the mountains near the outpost. She had a choice now. Should she warn the colony again, even if they laughed at her? Or should she go and see for herself? Her eyes burned with fear and curiosity. Deep inside, she felt something no scanner could read a pull. Like fate was knocking at her door. She made her decision. Grabbing her cold weather cloak and a small scanner, Zari left the control tower without permission. The freezing wind hit her face, but she didn't stop. She rushed to her old glider, parked near the storage bay. It was barely working, but it would get her close. As she flew across the snowy plains, she saw the sky flash. The object was descending. Slowly, carefully. It didn't crash, it landed. As if it knew exactly where to go. She reached the edge of the cliffs and landed behind a group of ice rocks. There it was. A long black ship, half covered in snow, sat silently in a valley. No light, no movement. Just steam rising from the vents. Zari crouched, her scanner shaking in her hands. This is not a dream. Her ears twitched. A small door on the side of the ship opened with a hiss. A figure stepped out, tall, wrapped in thick fabric, a helmet hiding its face. But the way it moved, slow, tired, heavy, it wasn't like her kind. It was different. She zoomed in. 2 eyes. Short. Nose, soft jaw. Warm blood. It was human. Zari almost dropped her scanner. She had trained for years. Learned to detect threats, pirates, and disasters. But nothing in her training had prepared her for a living myth walking out of a ship. The human looked around, then stumbled forward in the snow. He fell to one knee, panting. The snow started to bury him. He was hurt. She should call for backup. She should report this. But something in her heart stopped her. No one would believe her. And by the time they did, he might be dead. Zari made her choice. She ran forward from her hiding place, across the snow, toward the fallen figure. He lifted his head. His helmet cracked, blood running from his forehead. He looked at her with tired, wild eyes. "Don't be afraid," he whispered. His voice was dry, full of pain. "I come in peace." Zari froze. The voice, the language. It wasn't her own. But somehow, she understood it. It felt like something deep inside her had always known it. The human collapsed again. Zari bent down and caught him, just before he hit the snow again. "I don't know who you are," she whispered. "But you are not dying here." She looked at the silent ship behind him, and the radar device still blinking in her hand. Humans were real. And one just landed at her feet. Asterisk, a long time ago, her people believed that if a human ship ever landed, it would bring fire, war, or the end of the world. But when Zari stood over the fallen human, snow covering his chest, she realized something worse. He looked completely broken. The storm howled around her, the wind trying to freeze them both. Zari tightened her grip on the strange, heavy-bodied man. He was tall, but weak. His suit was torn, blood leaking through his shoulder. His breath was slow, shallow. If she left him here, he would not survive the next hour. Her small glider wouldn't carry both of them, not in this weather. She needed shelter. Fast.zar, I remembered an old supply station nearby, long abandoned, but still standing. Half dragging, half lifting the human, she began to walk through the deep snow. Each step felt heavier. But she kept going. Finally, the old station came into view. Its door was stuck from rust, but Zari used her plasma cutter to break the lock. Inside, the air was cold, but dry. Dust danced in the light of her scanner. She laid the human on a mattress made from old storage blankets. His eyes flickered open. He stared at her, confused, afraid. And then he smiled. "You're real," he whispered. Zari stepped back, her pulse racing. "You speak?" she asked. "I learned before the crash," he said, struggling. "Translator. Chip. Maybe still working." His voice was rough, deep, and slow. His words were broken, but clear enough. Zari had never heard a voice like his so. Human. She took out her scanner and started scanning his wounds. "Why are you here?" she asked softly. The human chuckled weakly. "Not by choice." Zari wanted answers. But she also knew he wouldn't last long without help. She found an old heat capsule and activated it, placing it under his chest. She cleaned his wounds and wrapped his arms with old bandages. His body had strange muscles, denser than her kind's, built for war or survival. Yet, he didn't feel dangerous. "Are there more of you?" she asked, curious. He shook his head. "No, just me." For now, Zari narrowed her eyes. "Then why are you here? Why come to our planet?" The human looked at the cracked ceiling. His face, even through pain, held something strange hope. "I followed a signal," he said. "Long-range beacon. Ancient Earth tech. It called to me, like a voice in the dark." Zari blinked. She had read about Earth beacons in Forbidden's archives. They were old, forgotten devices, hidden in deep space. But that signal is centuries old. She said, "Exactly," he replied, coughing. "I had to know. I had to follow." He tried to sit up and failed. Zari gently pushed him back down. "You're not ready to move," she said. "I don't have time to rest," he said. "If they find me." Zari looked at him sharply. "Who's coming for you?" The human turned his head slowly. His eyes were clear now, glowing slightly under the light of his broken helmet. "Everyone," he said. "Because I'm the last human, and I know the truth." Zari stepped back. Something cold passed through her. "Truth about what?" she asked, her voice quiet. The human's breathing slowed, and he closed his eyes. "Your people. Your world. It's not what you think. Zari didn't understand. But she felt a chill not from the cold, but from fear. Suddenly, outside the shelter, her portable radar beeped again. Another signal. Something was approaching. Zari ran to the broken window and peered out. Through the snow, she saw blinking lights in the sky. Not like the human ship, sleeker, faster, alien. Her kind, a patrol. Oh no, they had tracked the crash. They were coming. Zari turned to the human. He was still breathing, but weak. They'll kill you if they see you, she whispered. He opened one eye and gave a small smile. Then let's not let them see me. Zari had heard many voices in her life, her teachers, her parents, even the cold warnings of machines. But nothing ever made her freeze like the voice of the human when he said her name. Zari. She dropped the metal mug she was holding. It clanged against the floor. How do you know my name? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The human lay weakly on the mattress, eyes half closed. Blood still stained the side of his head, but his lips curled into a faint smile. I saw your name tag, he said. Zari's heart was pounding. But not from fear alone. His voice, it was deep, calm, filled with something strange. It didn't sound like a soldier or a killer. It sounded like someone who had traveled far and lost much. You should rest, she said, turning away to hide her shaking hands. I've rested enough, the human replied. He tried to sit up again, wincing in pain. Zari rushed over and pushed him back down gently. You're still injured. Your shoulder isn't healing right. I've had worse, he muttered. This is paradise compared to where I've been. Zari frowned. Where have you been? The human stared at the cracked ceiling. Drifting. In the void. Hiding. Waiting. Watching your kind from far away. Wondering if the old stories were true. What stories? He turned his head slowly. The stories that said, aliens fear humans. Zari swallowed hard. She wanted to say that wasn't true. That her people were wise and peaceful. But something about his voice made her doubt everything she thought she knew. Outside, the wind howled. The small radar blinked red again. Enemy drones were closer now. Zari closed the window shade and dimmed the lights. We don't have much time, she said. You have to tell me the truth. Why are you here? The human stared at her, silent for a few seconds. My name is Reed, he said finally. Captain Jacob Reed of the Earth Alliance. Or what's left of it. Zari sat down across from him. That name, Earth Alliance. She had read it only once, in a banned archive marked for historians only. Earth fell over 200 years ago, she said. Everyone knows that. Reed chuckled bitterly. Not fell. Betrayed. We were too strong, too stubborn. The other races feared us. So they turned on us together. Zari stared. You're saying the galaxy ended your kind on purpose? We survived, Reed said. A few of us. Hidden ships. Broken fleets. I'm one of the last, and I came here. Because your planet has something. Something? She asked. What do you mean? Reed reached into the inside of his torn suit and pulled out a tiny device, black and smooth like glass. This, he said, reacts only to people with Earth blood. Zari narrowed her eyes. What does that have to do with us? Reed looked straight into her eyes. You don't know, do you? Zari shook her head slowly. He placed the device in her hand. Try holding it. Just hold it. She did. Nothing happened at first. Then suddenly, the device glowed bright blue. Zari gasped and dropped it. What was that? Reed smiled weakly. You're part human. She stood up fast. That's not possible. I was born here. My parents are not your real ones, Reed said softly. Zari felt dizzy. She backed away, bumping into the cold metal wall. No. That's not true. I'm alien. I've always been alien. Then why does your name appear in Earth's last database? Reed asked. Zari froze again. What? I scanned this planet. Before landing. Showed up in Earth's ancient emergency records. You were listed under survivors. Hidden children. You were never supposed to stay here. Zari stared at him like he had just spoken thunder. Everything around her, her life, her identity, her people suddenly felt like a glass floor cracking under her feet. Before she could speak, the radar beeped again fast, loud. Drones. Close now. Reed looked at the door. They're coming. Zari. Didn't answer. Zari, he said again, firmer this time. They'll kill me, and maybe you too. Unless we leave, now. Zari's hand clenched around the glowing device. She had to choose. Stay loyal to the lies she was raised with or follow a man from a dead world who had somehow told her more truth in 5 minutes than her entire life had given her. She picked up her cloak. Come on, she whispered. Reed gave her a tired smile. You sure? No, she said, but if I don't find out who I really am, I'll never be sure of anything again. She helped him up. Outside, the snowstorm roared. Drones buzzed like insects in the air, but somewhere beneath the fear, something else had awakened inside her, something human. *3 council members stood before the Firestone table. Their faces were calm, but their decision was death. Zari watched from the shadows above the hall. Her hands trembled as she clutched the metal beam. Her breathing was quiet, but her heart pounded like a war drum. They were talking about him. The human must not leave this world, said Elder Kale. His voice was flat, cold. If we let him go, others may come. Another elder, thin and sharp-eyed, nodded. Our ancestors warned us, humans are chaos. If even one has survived, it threatens the peace we've built. But he came alone, said Elder Mira, the youngest of them. We don't even know if he's dangerous. Danger is not always loud, Kale replied. Sometimes it arrives quietly. In a ship of ghosts, Zari's blood ran cold. This was no trial, no fairness. They had already decided. Reed must die. She climbed down silently and rushed out into the snowy night. Her glider was hidden behind the repair bay. She jumped inside, wiped her tears, and took off toward the abandoned station where Reed still rested. The storm had cleared. The sky was full of stars again, but Zari didn't look up. Her mind was racing. She had just found out she wasn't fully alien. That earth blood ran in her veins. That she had once been a child on some long-forgotten human list. And now, the council wanted to erase it all. When she landed outside the station, Reed was already standing, leaning on a broken pipe like a cane. You're late, he said with a weak smile. Zari rushed to him. You need to sit. The council, Reed, they want to kill you. I figured, he said. Your people don't hide their fear very well. No, you don't get it, she said, gripping his arm. They're scared because of what you represent. Not just you, but everything human. He looked at her. And what about you, Zari? What do you represent now? She looked down. I don't know. Half of me feels like a stranger to my own people. The other half wants to protect you. Reed touched the side of her arm gently. That's more than most ever gave us. A loud whirring sound echoed through the canyon. Zar, I spun around. Drones. 3 silver drones floated above the cliffs. Their blue lights scanned the area like hungry eyes. They're here. Zari grabbed Reed's arm. We have to move, he said. There's an old tunnel system beneath this station, Zari said. It connects to the frozen caves on the north ridge. They're too narrow for drones. Together, they moved fast. The station's floor had a sealed hatch, rusted but still functional. Zari opened it with her laser tool. Reed coughed but managed to follow her down. Inside the tunnels, it was dark and cold. The walls dripped with ice. Their footsteps echoed like whispers from ghosts. Why do they fear you so much? Zari asked in the silence. Reed breathed heavily as they walked. Because long ago we fought back. We weren't easy to control. We were fast learners. Too strong, too wild. The galaxy couldn't tame us, so they erased us. But you survived. He smiled bitterly. Barely. Zari stopped walking. Her eyes filled with something anger, maybe sadness. If my people could do that to you, she said, what else have they lied about? Reed looked at her. Maybe that's why I'm here. Not to fight, but to remind someone like you that truth still matters. Suddenly, above them, an explosion rocked the surface. They found the station. Zari whispered. Reed turned to her, serious now. If I die, promise me something. Zari frowned. Don't talk like that. Promise me, he said. You'll find the truth about yourself. And about Earth, the real history. Don't let it stay buried. Zari nodded slowly, her throat tight. I promise. Footsteps echoed behind them. Someone was coming through the tunnel, not a drone. A person. Zari pulled Reed behind a boulder. Then a soft voice called out, Zari, it's me, Mira. It was the youngest elder. Zari stepped out, cautious. Myra. Looked tired, scared. I came alone. I don't agree with the others. They've sent a kill squad. You have maybe 1 hour, no more. Zari looked back at Reed. He's injured. He can't travel far. Mira handed Zari a small chip. Take this. It opens the vault beneath the North Temple. Inside are the records they hid. Your true history, Earth's truth, all of it. Zari took the chip, her hand shaking. Why are you helping us? She asked. Mira gave a sad smile. Because I used to believe the stories too, until I saw what fear does to good people. She turned and left quietly. Zari looked at Reed. He was pale but standing. What now? He asked. Zari stared at the glowing chip in her hand. Now, we uncover the past they tried to erase. Some truths aren't buried in the ground, they're buried in silence. And Zari was about to break that silence forever. Inside the cold tunnel, she stared at the small chip Mira had given her. It looked simple, just a black shard of data. Small enough to swallow. But she could feel it like it was buzzing in her hand. It was real. It was powerful. Reed leaned against the icy wall beside her, his breathing shallow. What's on it? He asked. Zari looked at him. Mira said it holds the true history. Records hidden by my people. Secrets about Earth. Reed smiled weakly. Then we finally have something worth dying for. Stop saying that, she snapped. You're not dying, not on my watch. He chuckled softly. You sound like an old human captain I knew. Zari tucked the chip into her pocket and helped him up. There's a vault under the North Temple. If we can get inside, we'll know the truth. As they moved through the cave tunnel, Zari felt a strange energy building around her. It wasn't from fear. It was something else. Purpose at the entrance to the old temple was hidden under layers of frozen rock. Zari activated a small hand drill, cutting through the ice until she found a black steel door. No markings. No handle. Just a small slot, the same size as the chip. She hesitated. What if we're not ready for the truth? She whispered. Reed looked at her. Truth doesn't wait for you to be ready. She slid the chip into the slot. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the door glowed blue and slid open with a hiss. Inside, the air was warmer. Lights flickered on soft golden lights, older than anything Zari had ever seen. Walls covered with old symbols and screens. It felt like stepping into the memory of another world. At the center was a raised platform. And a single glowing sphere. Zari approached slowly. Reed followed, limping but alert. She touched the sphere. Suddenly, a hologram appeared above them. A woman, not alien, not robotic. Human. Her voice was calm, but full of sorrow. If you are hearing this, then Earth has fallen. The alliance is broken. But we left pieces of our history across the stars, so no one could erase us completely. Reed's breath caught in his throat. Zari's eyes widened. The woman continued, "To the ones who find this, whether human or not, know this truth. Earth did not start the war. We tried to build peace, but we were feared for our strength, for our speed, for our passion. They joined forces to wipe us out, but not all succeeded." The room went silent. Then more images appeared, videos of human ships being ambushed, of colonies destroyed by alien fleets, of leaders falling while holding white flags. Zari covered her mouth. She had never seen such things. They were never shown in schools, never written in public records. In her world, the war was always Earth's fault. But this was different. Reed stepped forward, watching the burning cities of his ancestors. "She's right," he whispered. "We were hunted. Not because we were evil, but because we didn't bow." Zari looked at him, guilt twisting in her heart. "And my people helped do it." Reed turned to her. "You didn't." She shook her head. "But I still carry their blood." "You also carry mine," he said gently. Zari blinked. In that moment, she finally accepted it. She was part human, maybe not by choice but by truth. Sudden warning flashed on one of the old monitors. "Life forms approaching." Zari's heart dropped. "They found us," she whispered. Outside, engines roared. The kill squad had tracked them. "No more running." Reed looked at her. "We don't have to run, not anymore." "But they'll destroy this place." Reed turned to the console and tapped a button. "Not if I broadcast this." A countdown began. 10, 9, 8. "What are you doing?" Zari asked. "Sending the truth," he said, "to every open channel across your planet." Zari watched the signals go live, images, voices, proof. The galaxy would now see the real story. The door behind them exploded. Armed alien soldiers stepped in, weapons aimed. Zri raised her hands. Reed stood beside her. Then a voice crackled through their coms. "Elder Myra, stand down. Do not fire." "The council has seen the message. The order is cancelled." The soldiers hesitated, then lowered their weapons. Zri blinked in shock. "You did it," she whispered. Reed leaned back against the wall, smiling tiredly. "No," he said, "we did it." The truth was free now, but freedom has a price. Even though Zari and Reed had survived the ambush, they were far from safe. Outside the temple, angry voices filled the air. Some aliens believed the truth, others called it lies. Some shouted that Zari was a traitor, that she had sided with a ghost from the past. A human, a killer. Zari stood at the edge of the ice cliff, looking down at her planet, her home. It no longer felt like hers. Reed sat on a rock behind her, wrapping fresh bandages around his shoulder. "They hate me," Zari whispered. "They're afraid," Reed replied. "Truth shakes people. That's how you know it's real." She turned toward him. "What if I made everything worse?" Reed looked at her seriously. "You gave them a choice. That's more than they ever gave my people." Zari wanted to believe him, but deep inside, she felt hunted not just by soldiers, but by her own thoughts. Suddenly, a loud buzzing broke the silence. A black orb flew from the sky and hovered near them. It was a council messenger drone. Zari stepped back. The drone projected a hologram. It was Elder Kale, his face tight with anger. "Zari, you and the human are ordered to appear before the High Council. Do not run. Do not resist." Zari stared at the message. "Are we being arrested?" Reed asked. Zari's jaw tightened. "No. They want to parade us like criminals. Make an example." The drone hovered, watching silently. A countdown blinked beneath it. 3 hours to surrender. Reed stood slowly. "Then we have 3 hours to disappear." They rode an old supply cart down a hidden canyon path, far from the cities and satellites. Zari used her old patrol codes to disable trackers. No one had been this deep into the old Cradle Mountains for years. "This is where my real journey started," Zari said. "I trained here as a child. Before I knew anything about Earth. About you, about me." Reed looked around at the silent peaks. "Feels like the edge of the galaxy." "It is," Zari said. "And yet, it's where I finally feel alive." They reached an ancient shelter half buried in snow. Inside, the walls were painted with old alien symbols and one strange image Zari had never noticed before. A figure standing between two worlds, half alien, half human. Her eyes widened. "This was painted before I was born." Reed stepped beside her, staring at the symbol. "Prophecy? Or a warning?" she whispered. Inside the shelter, Zari activated a hidden panel in the floor. A soft light filled the room. Inside the panel was a tiny cube. "What is it?" Reed asked. "It belonged to my mother," she said. "My real one. I've never opened it." She placed her hand on the cube. A soft blue light scanned her palm. The cube unfolded and played a message. "Zari, if you're hearing this, then you've found the human." Reed froze. "You were born of two bloods. We hid the truth to protect you. But now, the world must know who you are. You carry the bridge between what was destroyed and what could still be saved." Zari's eyes filled with tears. She knew everything. Reed placed a hand on her shoulder. "You were always meant to find me," Zari nodded. "And I won't let them take you." Outside, a distant boom echoed in the mountains. "Enemy scouts." "They're here," Reed said. "Zar." Grabbed the cube and stuffed it into her pack. "There's one place left where we can hide, but it's dangerous." "Dangerous how?" Reed asked. She looked at him with a small smile. "It's not marked on any map. No cameras, no council eyes, just a beast." "And a legend." Reed raised a brow. "You sure you want to trust a legend?" Zari helped him to his feet. "I trusted a myth named human," she said. "And look where it brought me." As they hiked toward the secret pass, the snow thickened. But inside Zari's chest, something burned warmer than fire. Hope. She no longer ran from her past. Now, it guided her forward. And beside her walked the last of her race, once feared by the stars, now just a man with tired eyes and a heart full of courage. Legends are not born in palaces, they're made in the cold. When someone chooses to protect another instead of saving themselves. Zari stood at the edge of the cliff, wind slashing across her face, her eyes locked on the burning trail in the sky. The council's warships had found them. Behind her, Reed was barely holding himself up. Blood soaked through the side of his jacket. His breath came slow, but his eyes never looked away from her. "They're going to kill you for helping me," he said quietly. Zari looked down at him. Her voice was calm, firm. "Let them try." She helped him stand, wrapping his arm over her shoulders. The mountain's shadow grew darker as more ships began to land. One by one, heavy boots hit the snow. Dozens of armed soldiers marching through the pass. A voice echoed through the sky. "Elder Kale," projected from above. "Zari of Coronine, you are charged with treason. Hand over the human, and you may be spared." Zari looked up, her voice steady. "I won't hand him over. He came in peace. You came with weapons." Silence. "Then you leave us no choice." "Weapons." Charged. Reed weakly pulled away from her. "Go. Run. Don't let them kill you because of me." Zari shook her head. "I'm not saving the last human. I'm saving the first future." Then she stepped forward, raising the glowing truth cube. Her mother left behind. "This," she shouted, "is the truth. You wanted to erase it, but it's already spreading. To every system, every satellite, every world." Kale's voice grew sharp. "Lies!" Zari held it high. "Then come and destroy it yourself." The sky buzzed and a single dropship descended. "Elder Kale stepped out in heavy armor, blaster in hand. His face was stone, but his eyes held fury. You would choose this creature over your people? I didn't choose sides, Zari said. I chose truth. I chose peace. Kale aimed at Reed. You will regret it. But before he could fire, a massive roar echoed through the mountain. A shape burst from the cave behind them, 12 feet tall, covered in fur and stone armor. The beast of the mountains, a myth spoken in whispers. No one believed it still existed until now. Zari didn't move. Reed gasped. What is that? She smiled faintly. A friend. The mountain protects its own. The beast stood between them and Kale's army. Then it growled and pounded the ground. Cracks ripped through the snow, sending soldiers falling. Chaos erupted. Blasters fired. The beast charged. And Zari grabbed Reed, pulling him behind a frozen ridge. Explosions shook the cliffs. Ships lifted off in panic. Elder Kale screamed, trying to regain control, but the truth was stronger than fear now. Hours later, silence returned to the mountain. Zari knelt beside Reed inside a small cave lit by golden snowlight. His wounds were healing slowly. He looked at her, eyes tired but alive. You didn't have to do all this, he said. She smiled gently. You were the last human, but now you're not alone anymore. He reached out and touched her hand. You gave me more than a second chance, he said. You gave me a reason. She looked at the sky through the cave opening. Tiny lights were blinking, messages being sent between systems. The truth was spreading. Some would hate it. Some would fear it. But many would believe. You're not just a myth anymore, she whispered. You're a beginning.